Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 10 of Make a Change. I just want to emphasize it's episode 10 and you don't believe what a milestone that is for me. But anyways, I want to welcome you here. If you're new to this, welcome. I am your host Katharina Schuster and I am so glad you're here with me today because today we're going through a topic that has gotten a little bit popularity, I would say. And I actually have started using this a lot in my content on Instagram. If you want to have a look on my Instagram, just I'm pasting here my handle in for you. So you can have a look. So I'm sharing there actually daily content, educational, motivational, evidence-based and all these kind of things. And I have started talking about this quite a bit because I actually was looking for it basically all my life without actually knowing what is actually food freedom. And this is exactly what I want you to get closer to it. I want you to explain today what is actually food freedom. How can it help us and how can we get there? So I want to create like a step-by-step plan for you guys to really get to there. And it is possible to do that all by yourself, but obviously having some expert guidance can help in certain situations. I myself didn't have a nutritionist or anything. I did have a psychologist in fact, but yeah, I have clients who really dealing with a lot of food noise, another popular word which we are going into a little bit today as well. Lots of food voice, often food really getting used as kind of like a drug, not necessarily in a bad way, but just in a way to like make us feel better because we're going through stuff, right? So it's life. And especially with all the things that are going on in the world at the moment. I'm here in Australia, but my family is over in Germany. So with the Iran war, and it's a little bit worrying, to be honest, because like from Iran to Germany, it's maybe, I don't know, I have to lie, 5-hour flight. But yeah, I have to lie now. Anyways, it's not exactly what I wanted to talk to you about today. So let's dive into it and let's see where it takes us. Alright, so let's get this started. Grab a drink, take some coffee, energy drink. I got here a Solo Zero Sugar. So good, because it's gonna be a lot to take in today. Alright, so first of all, where does it actually come from? So if you look over the past decades, like actually starting like with the post-war areas, like the 1950s, like there was peace, people are more free again, and food suddenly became more abundant. It's also like people got more and more aware of their bodies, and I'm not really sure, to be honest, so I couldn't find enough on the internet about this because bodybuilding in fact started actually a lot earlier than the 1950s. Actually, when it goes back to the 19th century, when actually bodybuilding started, like the really, really early stages. But what do we have actually? So we have, for example, like the grapefruit diet, which started, to my knowledge, around the 60s. We have like cleansing and like fasting and shakes starting with the 80s, and I think everyone who's watching this one here is similar to my age. So I am 37 years old at the moment, so obviously grew up in the early 2000s. So there was like that skinny look, right? Like starting with Kate Moss, having that heroin chic, that like literally just looking a little bit, to be honest, a bit sick, and like really just being bone and skin. So there has been one diet after another, and everything was focusing on being highly restricted. At the moment, we are dealing with diets like keto is still a big thing. Fasting is still a big thing. Like when I'm talking to people and asking them, when they're coming to me for a consultation because they do have a goal, but feeling stuck, but at the same time not really admitting it, not really, they're telling me doing keto and doing fasting and said, oh yeah, it's all good, okay. Why are you here talking to me? Because obviously the results are not lasting and there is a problem. And we are human beings, so we do not really want to expose ourselves because we don't want to be embarrassed or wanting to admit that things are not going that well. The problem is that you, whoever is watching this, is not to blame. So there is constantly on the media something telling us the way how we have to look, the way what we have to eat. The language that we're using around food is like, good food, bad food, and don't eat this because it has chemicals. Oh, fucking hell, everything has chemicals. Healthy food has chemicals. Like a banana is basically full of chemicals. Actually, funny part, I saw a video the other day that a banana is the most dangerous fruit to eat, which is not going into it, absolute fucking bullshit. Excuse my French. But yeah, you know what I mean, all of this talk, that gives us that mindset that we have to eat clean. Or like if you think back of the early 2000s, I think it was around 2014, 2015 when I actually started with my fitness journey. It was like eating clean, and then you have a cheat day or you have just one cheat meal. And you're completely restricting yourself, and then you get asked, oh, what you're having for your cheat meal? And then that cheat meal goes into a complete cheat day. It goes into binging and overeating, and which actually gets you back to square one. And all it does is putting you in a negative mindset, making you feel bad about yourself, and putting you in that mindset, oh, I just start over again, which then leads to the fact that you're stuck in that cycle. You do see some results, possibly, but you're also never really getting over to where you actually want to be. And that also brings us to the mindset around food noise, which is constantly like in your head. What I'm gonna eat today, what I'm gonna eat this week, what I'm gonna cut out, what do I do to reach my goal? Or no, I can't eat that, this is bad food, no, I can't eat that, I should only eat this, I should only eat broccoli and chicken, because everything else is bad. And this creates this constant like noise, like we constantly thinking about this. So, and this is actually what food noise is. So food noise is, how can I explain this? When you think about, like you're going to a nightclub, right? So in a nightclub, you have to, you constantly have this noise around you. You got the people chatting, talking, and then you got obviously the loud music as well. So there's a constant noise. And when you're being there with your friend, want to dance, having a drink, whatever, and you want to obviously talk to each other as well. So you actually have to yell at that person to make them understand what you want to say, but it's almost impossible. So this is some kind of the same with the food noise. So in your head, you have all those noise, all those voices that is like, it's bad, only this is good, eat clean, you can have a cheat meal. Yeah, cheat meal also ends up in a catastrophe. And then you have one deep voice in yourself, so stop doing this, you know that's all bullshit. That is food noise. Okay, that's a little bit extreme, but this is something that I want to explain how food noise is. So we want to minimize that food noise and want to create food freedom. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you how exactly we are getting to the food freedom. Before we're doing that, I want to also explain to you what food freedom is not. So food freedom does not mean you can eat anything you want, don't worry about what you're eating, And it doesn't mean not having a goal, not having a physical goal, like a nutrition goal, like losing weight, building muscle, like working towards a certain physique. This is not what it means, absolutely not. But there is a way to still achieve that fat loss or that muscle building goal. I mean, something like a bodybuilding show is probably a very extreme example, because when I did my last bodybuilding show, food noise was really, really high, but it was a lot mindset as well, and my calories were just terribly low, which brings us, but yeah, in terms of a bodybuilding show, let's not talk about this now, because that's a complete different topic. It is extreme, and unfortunately there's no other way around those extremes if you want to step on stage. But here we want to talk about our day-to-day life, normal people like you and me, just wanting to look good, feel good, losing some body fat, and having just like feeling in our personal best body. For example, being in your bikini on the beach by the pool, like just like normal people like you and I, all right? So how are we gonna do this? Okay, get another sip in. Maybe you're even having some caffeine, just to make sure you're staying focused, because yeah, it is a lot. And so the next point is the first step, basically, to get to food freedom is changing, sorry, I lost it. Changing the language around food, the way how you talk around food. So often if we have a bowl of chips, okay, or pizza, doesn't mean you should every day pumping your body full of chips and pizza. That's exactly not what I'm saying, especially not if you want to lose the body fat. You're probably not gonna achieve your fat loss goals if you're eating only chips and pizza. But we want to achieve food freedom, and something like chips and pizza can certainly have a place in your diet, even if your goal is fat loss. Firstly, we have to change the language. So instead of saying, oh, chips, oh yeah, I know it's bad, but it tastes so good. Oh yeah, pizza is really bad food. I just start over tomorrow again, and I will be better. I will have better food. So the chips. So I will have not all the chips. I will have half of the chips and will have a salad with it to nourish my body, and I will have 2 slices of pizza. Pizza is a food that is high in fats and carbohydrates and has some protein. But if I have only 2 slices and maybe adding some more chicken, I can have higher protein, can still have that food that I actually like. Or I am going to have this pizza, not adding a salad, not adding extra protein or making any changes. I will just have this freaking pizza and I will completely enjoy it, because it still has all the nutrients. It has vegetables. Often you have vegetables like tomatoes, mushrooms, spinach on a pizza. Vitamins and minerals. You have the carbohydrates, which is your dough. You have healthy fats coming from cheese. You have protein coming from the sausage or from the salami or the chicken that is on top of the pizza. So you do have fiber, you got carbs, you got protein, you got fats. Yes, it is higher in carbs and fats and lower on the protein and fiber side, but it is still a meal that gives you the soul freedom. You can have this pizza if you build a strategy around it that is not too strict. A strategy, a plan that actually creates flexibility, that allows you to have a life, that allows you to have the foods that actually like, built around a plan that gives you flexibility, gives you the life that you can enjoy, and creating a calorie deficit to lose the body fat, or maintenance or surplus calories to build muscle. The maintenance or surplus in this case wouldn't be too difficult. It can be, talking from experience, but let's talk about the fat loss. It is still possible. This way, with changing the language, you won't be feeling guilty the next day because you have a plan set up that navigates your day, your entire week, in a way that by the end of the week, you will still hit your targets. And this can be absolutely possible. I promise you, I'm doing it. And my clients are doing the same thing. It takes them a little while because obviously they have to learn. It took me years to learn it, but eventually you will get there, I promise. It is really, really important to differentiate bad and good food. So the thing is, there is no bad food, there is no good food, okay? It's all just foods. We need to detach our emotions from the food because we need to make decisions based on what is actually in the food, what is around food, and the data that we're tracking. All right, so if you're tracking your nutrition or ever have tracked your nutrition, you're tracking your macros, you're tracking your fats, your carbohydrates, fiber, sodium. Okay, fiber and sodium is a little bit advanced. You can also track the alcohol if you do drink alcohol. If you don't drink alcohol, absolutely amazing. But if you do drink alcohol, knowing that if you have a glass or two, that will not ruin your gains. If you drink every day and get drunk on the weekend, yeah, it will ruin it. We have to be realistic at the same time, right? But it can be integrated. And none of these things, no single ingredient, no matter if it's a slice of bread, is it a bowl of pasta, a slice of pizza, a glass of red wine. That one is here is a no sugar one, doesn't have any calories, but even if you have the full strength stuff, the proper stuff, it is not inherently fattening because you only gain weight if you're actually going over your maintenance over a longer period of time, because also you need to take into consideration that your energy expenditure might be different on some days higher, some days lower, so your calorie balance might be actually different. But yeah, long story short, if you want to gain weight, you have to eat over your maintenance calories. Same thing, if you want to lose weight, you have to eat under your maintenance calories. And this one can create it in a very healthy and sustainable way. So I want to talk a little bit more about this inner voice because it is actually really, really important. One more sip. Yeah, this is actually really important because I would even, if you're in a really bad place, I would even journal, like everything right out. For example, when you did have a day where you ate foods that were higher in carbohydrates, higher in fats, higher in calories, I also want you to use this terminology. Like instead of saying, oh, I ate really bad food today, say I had a day where my choices of food are higher in calories, higher in carbohydrates, higher in fats, and this is absolutely okay. So like writing this down in your diary, on a piece of paper, maybe on a whiteboard, doesn't really matter, as long as something where you would read it on a daily basis. If you do journaling, then yeah, you would do that every day, every morning, every evening. So then you can read it every single day. And these are not just affirmations, they are actually rewriting and rewiring your brain, okay? So, and I think this inner voice, this is really the first step, and also really, really the hardest step to get to that food freedom. You know, because when we talked earlier about the decades of the different diet trends, all of those trends, they're coming back and back and back. Like at the moment, when you open TikTok or open your Instagram, I feel like that skinny talk is back. like there was a while where everything was really about like building muscle and like being strong and fit, which I thought, yes, we're finally going into the right direction. I love this. But I feel like it started kind of in last year, in the end of last year, I feel like. It kind of started, we're going back to skinny, especially when all of these weight loss drugs came up, like Ozempic and these kind of things. And Mounjaro I did make, I actually recorded with one of my good friends and my ex-coach, who is now coaching participants, he is now coaching clients who are on the Mounjaro or any peptides in general. So I actually recorded a webinar with her, so I pop it just here if you want to listen into this. So peptides can certainly do have their place, but it's just getting used in the wrong way, because Mounjaro, I believe it really can help people, but it often gets used like there's no, like a doctor has 25 hours in their 7 years of education, studying, university, yeah? I have studied a diploma in health science and nutrition. It was 2 years dedicated purely on nutrition. So tell me, would you hire me or would you hire a GP to do your nutrition? I find it a shame that often these clients, they're getting that Mounjaro or Ozempic, whatever. I think most people would get the Mounjaro these days. They would get it prescribed without any guidance. They would probably tell them, oh, make sure you eat and make sure you're eating high protein and fiber and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're probably telling them something like that, but they're just telling them. They're not actually teaching them how to do that. And it's getting just used to get as skinny as possible. And the problem is, if you're not actually, because it suppresses your appetite so crazy, that you're probably, if you like, I had a client actually, and she was on the Mounjaro. She only had one jab and then she stopped doing it actually. But she was telling me that I asked her, because she's already very knowledgeable about tracking her nutrition. I told her, okay, we're doing this now, but make sure you're still tracking your nutrition. Make sure you're getting your protein in. If you will be not hungry at all, but make sure you're getting the protein in. She sent me a message. She said, Kate, I only eat custard. I can't literally eat anything else. So we just went from in Australia, we have like a protein custard. It's called Wicked Sisters. It's actually really delicious. I tell her, okay, just eat this then. So she actually, when she ate like a piece of meat or some chicken, she actually got sick as hell. And from most people that I was talking to, I feel like to everyone I'm talking to is like, oh, I'm on the Mounjaro. It's so fucking hell. The problem with that is not the jab itself. The problem is no education around food behavior and how to eat. And because if you do not learn that, you will lose your muscle mass rather than your fat mass. You're ending up being like, your shape is quite small then, because obviously you did lose weight, but there is a difference between weight loss and fat loss. Like fat loss is actually strategically designed, like to really focusing on losing the fat mass and maintaining as much as lean body mass as possible. There will be not 100% fat loss. There will be like, I think 70% fat loss, 30% coming from lean mass loss, but it will be, when you're doing the nutrition right, we can really minimizing the loss of lean mass, where weight loss is like you're just losing the weight, but you will be mainly losing weight from water, organs, muscle mass. Yeah, and this is where you do look small, like you have a small frame, but your body fat percentage is actually quite high. So you're probably still having like 30%. I'm just making up a number now, because obviously that will be looking different for each person. and they will be having still 30 or even more % of body fat, which is still an indicator for diabetes, heart disease, any kind of metabolic diseases. So I don't know where the point is. And I drifted off the topic, but I wanted to get this off my chest. It can be a good thing, but it really needs to be handled the right way. And seeing all of this on the social media, that again creates that food noise. Oh, I have to do this, I have to be skinny, I have to do this. And it leads away from having that food freedom, because this gets us again in that wrong mindset. So we need to get into the right mindset when we're going back to the journaling, really rewiring our brain, having the good positive self-talk and the good talk around food. No bad and good food, but mainly use the terminology of higher carb and fat foods, higher caloric dense food, lower caloric food, volume food. This will get you in a much better way and also helps you to have a better understanding of nutrition. Now to just recap the whole thing, food freedom, it has food freedom and food noise. Those two words are like buzzwords at the moment. And the noise is, think about you being in the nightclub and actually can't hear your own voice. And the food freedom is creating the positive relationship to food. And that is a skill that can be learned by rewiring your rewiring your brain, by journaling, by improving the talk about food, the way how you talk to yourself, and also building around a strategy that helps you to have the foods that you love, to create a calorie deficit if your goal is fat loss, but in a way it works with your life and not the other way around. Because what we want is results that can be sustained ideally for the rest of our lives, but in a way that our brain is not constantly thinking around food. If you want to learn more about this, please message me, comment below what your experience is, what are your questions are, and also have a look at my Instagram. I'm just popping that in here again. I'm talking a lot about these topics, and I'm posting 2 to 3 times a day on my Instagram with a lot of really valuable content around nutrition, about exercise, around mindset, food freedom, food noise, and trying to break down the research to you to make it really understandable and also relatable. And I put my link in the subscriptions, not in the subscription, I can't talk today, in the captions. So I will put down my link. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching with me, I do offer a 30-minute free call via Zoom. If you want to just pick my brain and see what it's all about, very happy to do that. And apart from that, I see you in the next episode that will be released every Tuesday. And the next episode is, I already written it actually, but I forgot the topic. So it's gonna be a surprise. All right. My name is Katharina Schuster. I am the host of this podcast, Make a Change, all around sustainable fat loss, evidence-based strategies around training, exercise, and nutrition, and mindset. And I love to see you in the next one.